Well, hello again. Welcome back to my YouTube channel and welcome to my new beauty room in Austin, Texas. Today I am going to be telling you a little bit of a life update. In case you missed my past couple of videos or my extreme excitement over the last couple of months, I recently moved to Austin, Texas. Just to give you a little bit of a backstory about my life and kind of what brought me where I am. I moved to Baton Rouge, Louisiana with my husband in 2016 so he could attend grad school at LSU. I like to joke that that is the only reason people move to Baton Rouge is to go to LSU. In the 3 years that I lived there, honestly, I wasn't wrong. I met two kinds of people throughout my time span living there, people who had lived there their entire lives and people who had moved to go to LSU, and that was kind of about it. I'm currently in Austin, Texas. This is my favorite city probably, to date in the world. I've never traveled abroad. I've never seen a lot of places, but currently this is my favorite city. So once my husband graduated from LSU with his master's degree, I kind of waited as long as I could to leave. I didn't want to leave immediately because I was hoping that he was gonna get a job right out of grad school. Unfortunately, a lot of people have that same dream, so it's very competitive and difficult to find work in his field. So I waited and then I just kind of lost my mind. I kind of went a little crazy. I did a vlog where I did a solo trip home to Texas, and that's kind of what really brought me back to life. I realized that I needed to be back in Texas. I realized it was no longer something that I wanted. It was now something I needed. Texas is just so home for me. There's so many differences between Texas and Louisiana. My family is much closer to Houston. My family is about 2.5 hours away from Austin, which I like. It's close, but not too close. I definitely need to be closer to my family. I need to be closer to people who feel like my family and ground me and help keep me who I am. We moved in on February 1st and life has kind of been great ever since. We've both started work at our new jobs, and my new crew of people that I'm working with are honestly amazing and work really hard and are so much better than my last crew. I can't even explain. I could, you just wouldn't understand what I'm fully talking about, but it's just so different already. And I almost had like a full-blown breakdown the other day at work. I almost just started crying, but then I realized I shouldn't do that because I don't already want to be labeled as crazy crying girl. Like low-key I am sometimes, but like don't tell. I just had kind of like a breakdown because I had hyped up Austin in my mind for so long and Texas in my mind for so long as being so different and so like what I need in life again, that I started to kind of doubt it and I started to kind of not really believe myself. And I was like, maybe I've overhyped it, maybe I've romanticized it, maybe this place doesn't even exist anymore. But I seriously almost broke down crying because it does exist. It is real. I'm here. Everything that I thought is true, and it's just bizarre to me how right that I was. I think I would have gone for this a lot harder had I known how correct I was about everything. There's just so many differences in Texas and Louisiana. It's bizarre to me because they're neighbors. They're right next to each other on the map, but they're so severely different. The culture is different. The law enforcement is different. The highways are different. Everything is different. There are a lot of unique things about Louisiana. It just wasn't my cup of tea. It wasn't for me. It wasn't home. I will always have more sentimental feelings towards Texas because obviously it's my home. It's where I'm gonna ride and die for. One of the biggest difference between Louisiana and Texas is how poor of a state Louisiana is, and that really just kind of trickles down into everything. The schools are a lot poorer, so the education is a lot worse. There's so much like non-funded systems that they have for the schools. Like the schools are honestly literally ranked 49th in our country. Just to give you an idea of how poor their public school system is. Almost every single kid goes to private school in Louisiana because of how horrible all the public schools are. That's just not the case in Texas. We truly have some of the best school districts in the entire state. Texas as a whole just has a lot better school systems in general. So that's one thing I really noticed, as well as let's go back to that law enforcement thing. So there is almost no traffic enforcement in Louisiana. Therefore, there are such shitty drivers everywhere you turn. So much so that my husband actually got a dash cam while we were living in Baton Rouge because the drivers are actually that bizarre. People run red lights like absolutely crazy. It's like literally anarchy. There are no rules. Nobody uses a blinker. Nobody has heard of a blinker. Everybody just does whatever they feel like on the highway. Nobody cares. Everyone goes whatever speed they feel like. The roads are unmaintained and uncared for. There are so many shitty roads in Louisiana. It's just really sad. As well as the state actually has a problem with who runs the red light tickets. So for those of you unfamiliar with red light tickets, that is when you run a red light and a camera takes a photo of you and your license plate and sends you a ticket in the mail for running that red light. The state of Louisiana has actually come out and publicly stated to not pay those tickets because they disagree with like something, they don't like the company, there's some beef or drama going on with them. They've actually put out public statements telling people not to pay the red light tickets, and there is currently no penalty for not paying those tickets. But it's just kind of full-blown anarchy. I called that kind of shitty driving. I called it rougey. If I'm ever like being a shitty driver or something, or my husband is, I'll be like, oh, you're getting rougey. Obviously, now that we're back in Texas, I've had to kind of correct and retrain some bad behavior that I picked up while I was living there, such as driving. I can no longer just run red lights when it's the middle of the night and I just don't care. No one else is around. I can't turn on that red light anymore. I actually have to wait for a green light. We lived right next to a hospital when we were in Baton Rouge, and so many people, it was so alarming to me and so sad to me how many people did not stop for ambulances and did not get out of the way for ambulances and emergency vehicles such as fire trucks, cop cars. I have seen people almost cut off an ambulance at a light because they were like, oh cool, this ambulance is gonna take a left turn. Well, I needed to take a left turn on this red light too. Here I go. I've actually witnessed people do things like that in Louisiana, like cutting off an ambulance, like a person could be dying in there. It's the lack of like empathy for other humans is so extreme. I can't, bizarre. We were visiting back in Texas just over Christmas, and there was a fire truck in the opposite side of the road, and the people on our side of the road stopped, and I was just like, yeah, I need to be back here. Like, I need to be back in civilization where there's actual rules. Really not trying to bash Louisiana. I just had a lot of negative experiences while I was there. But let me take a second to talk about some of the positive experiences I had while I was living there. My husband and I went to Mardi Gras this past year in New Orleans, and that was incredible. That was unlike anything I've ever seen. I mean, don't get me wrong, like it was no carnival, but like it was pretty cool. Like it was pretty amazing. That was something I really liked and enjoyed. I really liked New Orleans. I think New Orleans is a really cool city. It has so much culture. Louisiana as a whole has so much culture. That is something I feel like I allowed to like cloud my judgment for so long, is just how unique and different the culture is there. There's very much a Cajun culture, but even just down to like people's manners, like it's just wild to me being back in Texas how polite everybody seems now after being away for so long. I'm just like, wow, okay, like I need to be back in civilization so badly. Like I said, these are all things that I thought were so good and so true about Texas for so long that I really thought maybe I was making them all up. But being back here has truly opened my eyes that this is where I belong. Texas is my home. I love Texas so much. I actually used to live in Austin, and around 2012 I lived in Austin. I lived in a very dangerous apartment complex. I lived kind of in the ghetto. I lived by myself, and you know, that was a really formative year of my life. I was 19, and it was a really necessary year for me to live on my own for a year and just kind of grow up and learn a lot of life lessons. So I'm very familiar with Austin as a city. I have visited it many times over the time span that I used to live here to now. I'm super grateful that I have friends now. I feel like when I moved to Baton Rouge, I didn't really have any friends at all, but I'm lucky enough to be leaving Baton Rouge with some friends. You know who you are. Thank you all so much for being my friend. I really truly appreciate your friendships. Which, just total side note, I have to shout out this app that I use all the time. No, this is not sponsored. Yes, I wish it was. I use an app called Marco Polo with all of my girlfriends, and it's incredible. It's basically like a video messaging app, but you can talk as long as you want. So I have sent full-blown like 45-minute videos to my girlfriends. I literally got ready today talking to one of my friends on Marco Polo the whole time, and it's like you can send a video and it doesn't like, it's not like sending a video over text, you know, where you have to like wait for it to send. It's all instant. You can also watch people live if you're on at the same time as they are. You can watch them live, you can respond back live. It's just a really useful tool for me, especially because one of my girlfriends currently lives in Spain, so we're just not on the same time zones at all. So Marco Polo is very, very useful for us, and it's really helped me like grow and feel so connected to my friends. It's such like a genuine, honest way of communicating, because you are kind of just recording a video of yourself. You're kind of more or less just like talking to yourself, which obviously I'm familiar with. I'm doing it right now, but it really helped me kind of grow those connections and bond with my friends more, and I definitely feel super grateful for that app. So I just had to mention that really quickly. If you struggle staying in touch with your friends, Marco Polo is fantastic. It's better than calling someone on the phone because it's not as like, I don't know, I've always felt a lot of like pressure around phone calls, like cause it's so instant, I guess. And I think a lot of that also has to do with me being a millennial, you know, like I didn't really grow up having a ton of phone conversations. I did, like, don't get me wrong, I totally remember like giving people my room number because we had 2 phone lines in my house, because that was back in the day when you had dial up and you couldn't be on the phone and on the internet at the same time. So we had 2 different phone lines for my house, and the one that was like the computer line was also like my room. So I totally remember like giving people my room's phone number and stuff, and having my own like personal voicemail set up, and I thought it was so cool. But I don't really feel like our generation talks on the phone so much anymore. That's why Marco Polo is so great, because I can actually talk to people and tell them anything I want, but without the pressure of like them responding instantly. I'm really in love with our apartment. I love where we live. I think the area is really nice. It's just really great. The community I'm in is really phenomenal. I'm glad to have HEB back in my life. I'm glad to have P. Terry's back in my life. There's even an In-N-Out burger here now. I'm glad to have Magnolia Cafe back. Kirby Diner, you know, there's so many things that I'm just like super grateful to have back in my life being back in Austin. Except now it's even better because I'm with my husband. My husband also used to live in Austin. He lived here around like 2008 to 2010. So we never were here together. We never got to like live in the city together. However, we have visited the city together plenty of times. We even made a pit stop here on our honeymoon because we just love the city so much. The next video you'll probably see on my channel is more than likely going to be a tour of the room that we're in right now, a new beauty room tour. I pretty much have it all set up. I'm really pleased with it. I really love the space that I'm in. I really love our place. Like I said, it just feels like home. It feels right. We had kind of toyed around with the idea of moving to Houston for a little while, like the city, Houston proper. My family lives about an hour north of Houston in a small little farm town that no one's ever heard of. And my in-laws live in the Woodlands, which is 30 minutes north of Houston. So we toyed around with the idea of moving to Houston for a while, but it just didn't feel right. And then I just kind of randomly threw out there, I was like, what about Austin? And it just like instantly felt right. It was like, yes, let's go to Austin. Austin is where we need to be. Austin's just so great. It's so great. It's so wonderful. I love it here. It's so weird. I heard somebody call Austin a blueberry in a tomato patch, and I thought that was the most brilliant analogy I've ever heard, because Austin is a very liberal city. It's ironic that it's the capital of Texas because it's very not what Texas normally is. It's not conservative. It's very liberal, like I said. So somebody calling it a blueberry in a tomato patch, it was just literally genius to me, because that's what Austin is in Texas. So that being said, it is so nice to be able to go out to the grocery store and not have 7,000 people be like, oh my God, look at that girl with the purple hair, stare at the freak. Like, I'm not a freak in this city, and it feels so good. When I lived here, I did have purple hair because I've had purple hair for that long, surprise. And I remember having that feeling back in the day. I was just like, wow, like nobody cares about my purple hair, and like it's amazing, you know? I mean, don't get me wrong, I am still fortunate enough that I do still get complimented on my hair, and it's never gonna bother me, but it's the like fact of people staring at me and making me feel like an actual freak show because people just would gawk at me in small towns. So I feel so like liberated that that's gone, that nobody cares. Like I'm not an outcast here. I very much fit in. And it's just really nice. It's really great. I love it. I also have friends from high school here that I'm very grateful to have in my life, and I'm grateful that I get to hang out with them. We have tickets to see Cirque du Soleil in May. We have tickets to a show, I think next week here. Like there's actual events and things for us to do and see here, and just like it's so much easier to enjoy life here, I feel. But even taking it further than that, I really like our apartment. I really like the place that we picked. I really like our apartment. I really like our complex. I really like a lot of things about this. It's a really big life upgrade for us. That being said, yes, it is absolutely more expensive, but you know, it's just worth it. It's just so worth it. I'm so incredibly happy. I'm so glad to be here. If you want to see anything in Austin, please let me know. I would love to show you. I'm excited to like vlog in the city and do all the things and go to places like H Mart. I'm just like so thrilled to be back here. It's kind of wild. I got to spend my 28th birthday. I just turned 28. Thank you very much. On February 7th. I got to spend my 28th birthday hiking. We went on this big nature hike and it was so beautiful up in the hill country of Austin. It's so gorgeous and it's free, you know? It's just like nature for free. Hooray. It's so wonderful being somewhere that is the city while also still in nature. Like I love Austin. Can you tell? I can't say enough good things about it. I really do love it. I'm sure I will have some wild stories for y'all soon enough because I am working in downtown Austin and I've already met a few characters for sure. It's definitely been a little different for sure, but I'm so happy to be here. I'm so excited to be here. That's it, you guys. I just wanted to check in and say hello. Welcome to Austin. I'm so excited to have you guys here with me. If you made it to the end of this video, give it a thumbs up. If you want to subscribe, I put out new videos every single Wednesday. I did record a moving vlog. I recorded plenty of moving vlog footage. It is stuck on my iPhone. I cannot get my iPhone to communicate with a computer. I have tried for hours and hours, and I'm not even exaggerating when I say I've tried for over 4 hours to try and get this footage off of my phone. Any way possible. I've tried, you know, just like taking it off of my phone. I've tried emailing it to myself. I've tried compressing the files, putting it on the iCloud, putting it in a Google Drive. I've tried so many different ways. Nothing has been successful. I'm kind of at my wit's end where I'm about to go to the Apple store and be like, yo, what the fuck? Unfortunately, my efforts spent filming that moving vlog were probably wasted. You're probably not gonna care about it after this video, but you know what? I'm ready to move on with my life too, so that's really just gonna have to be okay. Thank you all so much for watching and for being here. Like I said, I cannot wait for what's to come. I'm really excited about the next chapter of my life. I love you all so much. I hope you're having a good one and I'll see you next week. Bye guys.